You know, there's something I've noticed when talking to folks over 65. Many of them tell me they feel like their bodies just don't move the way they used to. And that's completely normal. But here's the thing. Sometimes, in our effort to stay active and healthy, we end up doing exercises that might actually do more harm than good. Now, I'm not here to scare you, far from it. I want you to feel strong, vibrant, and full of energy for years to come. But there's one exercise in particular, one that most gyms still recommend, that could be putting your health at serious risk after 65. And chances are, you've either done it before or seen someone else doing it. So today, we're going to talk about the forbidden exercise asterisk, why it's dangerous, what you should do instead, and how you can stay fit without risking injury. Because let's face it, at this stage in life, our bodies need a little extra care, and that's okay. Now, before we dive in, I want you to think about your own routine. Do you ever feel a sharp pain in your joints after a workout? Or maybe you've noticed that certain movements just don't feel right anymore. That's your body telling you something. And if you've been doing this particular exercise, it might be time to make a change. So let's start with the first reason why this exercise is so risky after 65. The problem with heavy weightlifting asterisk. You've probably heard that lifting weights is great for building strength and maintaining bone density, and that's true. But here's the catch. Not all weightlifting is created equal, especially as we get older. The exercise I'm talking about is heavy overhead presses asterisk. You know, when you lift a barbell or dumbbells straight up over your head. Now, if you're in your 30s or 40s, this might be a fantastic way to build shoulder strength. But after 65, it's a different story. Our shoulders aren't as flexible as they used to be. The rotator cuff, that little group of muscles and tendons that keeps your shoulder stable, becomes more fragile with age. And when you put heavy weight directly overhead, you're putting an enormous amount of strain on those delicate tissues. One wrong move, and you could end up with a serious injury that takes months to heal. But here's what really worries me. Most gym trainers don't realize this. They're used to working with younger clients, so they recommend the same exercises to everyone. And that's how so many seniors end up hurting themselves without even realizing it. So what should you do instead? A safer alternative, the seated shoulder press asterisk. If you love the feeling of working your shoulders, and trust me, keeping them strong is important, there's a much safer way to do it. Instead of standing and pressing weights overhead, try the asterisk seated shoulder press with light to moderate dumbbells. Here, why this works better. Sitting down takes pressure off your lower back. Using lighter weights reduces strain on your rotator cuff. You can focus on controlled movements instead of pushing yourself to lift heavy. And the best part, you'll still get all the benefits: stronger shoulders, better posture, and that wonderful feeling of accomplishment without the risk. Now let's talk about another exercise that might surprise you. The hidden dangers of sit-ups asterisk. Remember doing sit-ups in gym class as a kid? Well, it turns out they're not so great for us after 65. In fact, they could be doing serious damage to your spine. Here, why, as we age, the discs in our spine lose some of their cushioning. When you do a traditional sit-up, you're putting a lot of pressure on those already vulnerable discs. Over time, that repetitive strain can lead to back pain, herniated discs, or even worse. And yet, walk into any gym, and you'll probably see a trainer telling someone over 65 to do a few sit-ups to strengthen your core. It's mind-boggling. A better way to strengthen your core, the standing march. Instead of lying on the floor and straining your back, try this simple but effective move, the standing march. Here, how you do it. 1. Stand tall with your feet hip-width apart. 2. Lift one knee up toward your chest, then lower it back down. 3. Alternate legs as if you're marching in place. This gentle movement engages your core, improves balance, and gets your heart rate up, all without putting stress on your spine. Plus, you can do it anywhere. Now, before we move on to the next dangerous exercise, I want you to take a moment and think about your own routine. Have you been doing overhead presses or sit-ups without realizing the risks? If so, don't worry. Today's the perfect day to make a change. Because here's the truth, staying active is one of the best things you can do for your health, but it's got to be the asterisk right kind asterisk of active. And that's exactly what we're going to keep talking about. You know, when I first started researching this topic, I was shocked at how many common gym exercises, ones we've been doing for years asterisk, just aren't safe after 65. And the scary part, most people have no idea they're putting themselves at risk. But here's the good news. Once you know what to avoid and what to do instead, you can stay strong, mobile, and full of energy without worrying about injury. So let's keep going and talk about another exercise that might surprise you. Hash the truth about leg extensions asterisk. If you've ever used a leg extension machine at the gym, you're not alone. It's one of the most popular machines out there, especially for folks who want to strengthen their thighs. But here, the problem. That machine puts unnatural asterisk stress on your knees, and after 65, your joints just aren't built to handle that kind of pressure. Think about it, when do you ever lift weight with just your lower leg in real life? Almost never. Natural movements, like walking, climbing stairs, or standing up from a chair, use your whole leg, not just an isolated muscle. But the leg extension machine forces your knee to bear the full load in a way that can wear down cartilage and even lead to long-term damage. A better alternative, sit-to-stand squats asterisk asterisk. Instead of risking your knees on a machine, try asterisk sit-to-stand squats. They're simple, effective, and mimic the movements you actually need in daily life. Here, how to do them safely. 1. Sit in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor. 2. Lean slightly forward, engage your core, and push through your heels to stand up. 3. Slowly lower yourself back down with control. This strengthens your thighs, glutes, and core, just like the leg extension machine, but in a way that protects your knees and improves your balance. And the best part, you don't need any equipment. Now let's talk about something even more surprising. Hash why you should rethink the treadmill asterisk asterisk. I know what you're thinking. Asterisk walking is the safest exercise there is. And you're right if asterisk you're doing it the right way. But here's the issue. Treadmills can be deceptively asterisk dangerous after 65. First, the belt moves on its own, which means your body has to adjust to its speed. If your reaction time slows even a little, which is completely normal as we age, you could lose your balance. And second, treadmill walking doesn't prepare you for real-world obstacles, like uneven pavement, curbs, or slopes, which are the leading causes of falls in seniors. A safer way to walk, outdoor or track walking asterisk. If you love walking, and I hope you do, it's one of the best exercises out there. Try doing it outside or on an indoor track instead. Here, why? Natural terrain forces your muscles to adapt, improving balance. Fresh air and changing scenery boost mood and motivation. You're less likely to get into a robot mode where your body moves mindlessly. If you must use a treadmill, keep these safety tips in mind. Hold onto the handrails lightly. Gripping too hard can throw off your posture. Start at a slow, comfortable pace. No need to push for speed. Stay focused. No reading or watching TV while walking. Now, before we move on to the last few exercises, I want you to take a quick mental inventory. Have you been using the leg extension machine or relying too much on the treadmill? If so, don't worry. Today's the perfect day to switch things up. Because here's the truth, getting older doesn't mean giving up on fitness. It just means being smarter about how we move. And that's exactly what we're going to keep talking about. You know, one of the biggest myths about aging is that we're supposed to slow down, to take it easy, to avoid pushing ourselves. But here's what I've learned from talking to hundreds of vibrant, active seniors. The key isn't moving less, it's moving smarter. We've already covered some of the most dangerous exercises hiding in plain sight at your local gym. But there's one more I need to warn you about. It's sneaky because it looks gentle, but for many folks over 65, it can do more harm than good. Hash the hidden risks of the lat pull-down machine ***. Now this one might surprise you. The lat pull-down, where you pull a bar down toward your chest, is a staple in most gyms. Trainers love it for building back strength, and at first glance it seems safe enough. But here, the problem. That overhead pulling motion puts tremendous strain on aging shoulders. As we get older, our shoulder joints naturally lose some of their mobility. The rotator cuff muscles become more vulnerable to tears, and the cartilage wears thinner. When you force your arms into that overhead position, especially with added weight, you're playing Russian roulette with your shoulder health. I've seen too many active seniors sidelined for months with preventable rotator cuff injuries from this exact machine. A safer alternative, seated rows ***. Want to keep your back strong without risking your shoulders? Try seated rows instead. Whether you use a resistance band or a cable machine, this movement keeps your arms in front of your body, where they're strongest and most stable. Here, how to do it right. 1. Sit tall with your knees slightly bent. 2. Pull the handle toward your waist, squeezing your shoulder blades together. 3. Control the movement as you return to start. You'll get all the back strengthening benefits without putting your shoulders in that vulnerable overhead position. Hash the biggest lie about stretching. Before we wrap up, I need to address something crucial. The stretching advice you've probably been given that's actually working against you. How many times have you heard, touch your toes to stay flexible? It's terrible advice after 65, and here's why. Forcing a forward bend like that overstretches already vulnerable lower back muscles, compresses spinal discs that are naturally thinning with age, can lead to muscle strains or even slipped discs. What to do instead? The standing tall stretch ***. Try this simple, safe alternative to maintain flexibility. 1. Stand with your back against a wall. 2. Raise your arms overhead as far as comfortable. 3. Hold for 15-20 seconds while keeping your lower back gently pressed to the wall. This protects your spine while still giving you that wonderful stretched out feeling. Hash putting it all together. Let's recap what we've learned. Swap overhead presses for seated shoulder presses, replace sit-ups with standing marches, choose sit-to-stand squats over leg extensions, opt for outdoor walking instead of treadmill dependence, do seated rows instead of lat pull-downs, practice wall stretches instead of toe touches. But hear what matters most. You don't have to give up on fitness. In fact, staying active is the single best thing you can do for your health as you age. You just need to do the *right activities in the *right way. I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried any of these safer alternatives? Or maybe you've discovered other exercises that work beautifully for your body. Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else to make a positive change. If you found this helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We're building a community here of people who believe that getting older doesn't mean slowing down. It just means being wiser about how we move. Remember, your best years aren't behind you. They're whatever years you decide to make your best. Here's to staying strong, staying safe, and enjoying every moment of the journey ahead.